Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About Brand. There it is. I do this show every single week at 12 noon Eastern, where I talk to various smart people about various elements of branding. And I, of course, am Christine Gritmon. And those of you who join us here every week know that every week we also have a giveaway for our live guests. We love you, replay viewers. In fact, if you are joining us on a replay, please let us know in the comments where you are joining us from, since we are right now live on Facebook and Twitter and Periscope till they shut it down. They're going to be shutting it down really soon, but hopefully Twitter Live will continue because I love my Twitter Live audience, and of course, Facebook. All right, so live viewers, people who are actually here on Friday, you have the chance to win a giveaway every single week. It's different every week. I do the same giveaway on my Tuesday Twitter chat about brand, and this week it's actually a giveaway from me. It is my I Am a Personal Brand t-shirt or mug. And the mug, much like my Let's Talk About Brand mug, has my logo on the back, and on the shirt actually it's kind of on the back there too. So if you want to rock an I'm a Personal Brand t-shirt or mug, just put hashtag brand in the comments. And again, this is live viewers only. Sorry, replay viewers, we love you, but tune in next Friday in order to get next week's giveaway. All right, without any further ado, I'm very excited about today's guest. Juntae DeLane is a digital branding specialist, and we are going to talk to him about what exactly digital branding means and how he got into this specialty, because of course there's a million ways to brand, but digital branding is especially important right now. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring him on. Welcome, Juntae. How you doing?
Doing well, Christine. How are you?
Good. Where's the applause? I was wondering where the applause was. I always love to give it up for our guest. So first and foremost, could you just kind of tell us, you have done various elements of branding. You have branded in event marketing. You've done all sorts of things. So what has the kind of quick version of your journey to specializing in digital branding specifically?
Well, most people don't know this, but I actually started my marketing career as a DJ, working to help bring fans of artists and bands in the Bay Area to listen to music and to engage around music, and then branched off to products and services.
So wait, were you marketing yourself as a DJ, or were you marketing this kind of community?
So really both, right? I was marketing myself as a DJ and going to school for marketing, and applying all the things that I've learned in the classroom to my brand as well as others. And that's really where my consulting started.
I love that. So you moved from that, and that seems to be was that mostly real life events where they could get together and, dance or whatever? Or was it mostly bringing them to listen to music on online platforms at that point?
It was on online platforms back when MySpace was the preeminent social network.
Yep.
I even started my own social network while some other guy on the East Coast had one for college students. Yeah. So,
what was yours?
Bay Events. So it was an event-based social network. I thought that would attract more people. But once he opened it up to Mark Zuckerberg, opened it up to everyone else,
Yep.
it was a game changer at that point.
Oh, man. So, but that's a pretty neat story. Should have gotten that Zuckerberg money.
Right, exactly. I spent the last 8 years as a senior digital brand manager for the University of Southern California, and I also created a digital agency really out of necessity. So I had a strong community that I built from the Digital Branding Institute. Many of those members from the Digital Branding Institute not only wanted to learn more about digital branding, but also wanted to have someone do it for them. So they were looking for execution, and that's really where the agency was birthed. So we've been around for 5 years now, and we work with many different brands and individuals on building their digital brand, launching campaigns, and of course managing them as well. So we work with everything from go-to-market strategies to overarching digital strategies to execution, analytics, and conversion rate optimizations.
I love that. And of course, you also have your education platform as well. I want to remind our live viewers, by the way, about our giveaway today. So you can win some of my lovely merch. And if you don't win, by the way, you can just go to gritmon.com/merch and grab it yourself. But we're giving some away today, and it could be to you. All right, so let's dig into the main premise, which is digital branding. So, of course, there's a million brands have been around as long as people have been around practically. So, let's talk about digital branding and what makes it a distinct field.
Yeah, so I think, before jumping into that, we have to understand exactly what digital branding is and how we've defined it at the Digital Branding Institute. Is your digital brand is the identity, visibility, and credibility among consumers who discover, relate to, and interact with the brand on digital platforms. Right. So I think oftentimes when people when people think about digital branding, they may lump in, personal branding and traditional branding and sort of what's the difference between those things. Well, when we look at personal branding, for example, you can argue that it's really about being known in a certain space, right? And that's your personal brand. But there's one thing that's missing from that. It's really the conversions, right? So the focus for personal branding, many people would think that it's about, just making sure that you're known. But oftentimes conversions is put on the back burner. So that's really where digital branding comes into play.
Yeah, people want to go for those vanity metrics, right? People want to have a lot of followers, but why? What are you trying to do with that? And that also kind of brings into something that I'd love to hear your thoughts on, which is how people often conflate branding and marketing in sort of the same sentence, and they work together, but they're very distinct. Can you speak to that a little bit and about the being known versus the conversions as a metric?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you think about those vanity metrics of being known, having set number of followers or likes, so on and so forth, if you have a large amount of likes, I think the average person would think that you are pretty known, or if you have a large following. But that's not necessarily true, because we also know that we have, individuals and even businesses who have, small amount of following, but are very impactful in their field. And so that's really the difference between the branding and marketing, right? I mean, you have the ability to reach so many different people, but how you're actually engaging with them and converting those individuals at the end of the day is what's most important. So because consumers are mostly focused on engaging and with a brand in the digital space, you have to consider how a consumer interacts with a brand on digital platforms versus how they would in the physical world. So those are the small nuances between the two.
What do you feel are some sort of must haves in order for a person or a company, some entity, to feel like they are properly digitally branded? Because we all know those companies who are like, well, I've had my storefront on Main Street for, 80 years and, word of mouth. And it's like, no, 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 you got to get that brand into the digital space. So, what are some ways that are kind of key to that?
Yeah, I think looking as a brand, if you're trying to build your focus on your digital brand, making sure that all of the digital touch points that your target audience interacts with are all working in your favor in concert. They all have a consistent theme, a consistent message, and so on. Because oftentimes you'll have other people that are contributing to the content of about a specific brand, right? Regardless if you don't have a presence online, you do have a presence online, right? Because of other people, their interactions end up with your brand end up showing up online. So it's important to make sure from a brand perspective that you are able to control or enhance the narrative of about your brand, because that's one of the ways that you're able to make sure that your brand is positioned in the digital space across all those individual touch points.
Absolutely. And you never know which touch point someone is specifically going to find you at. And I mean that could be their
Exactly.
only touch point. If they don't like what they see, that may be their only exposure to you. So it's really great to be in control of that trail, really. So you have kind of two. You have your hands in a lot of pies here, but but your babies are kind of Digital Branding Institute and Digital DeLane. Can you just tell us
Mhm.
a little bit about the differentiation between the two and why they're two separate entities as opposed to kind of being one with different services?
Absolutely. So, Digital Branding Institute is the insights and education arm of Digital DeLane. Digital DeLane is a full service digital branding agency located in Los Angeles. And we focus on putting information out about digital branding on Digital Branding Institute, as well as events and other online activations through the Digital Branding Institute as well. If we have individuals who are prospects that are just looking to learn more about digital branding, we direct them there. If they're looking for someone or a team to execute on some of their campaigns, we direct them to the agency. So that's really the difference between the two, but it is a symbiotic partnership for sure.
Love that. And that way you're able to serve a much larger audience with their own specific needs. That's always fantastic. A
100%.
reminder to
100%.
everyone who's watching live that we do have a giveaway. I'm going to be oops, drawing that winner at about 25 past the hour. So in a little more than 10 minutes. All right, so I want to make sure everyone knows that live viewers very happy to take your questions. I will ask them on the air. In the meantime, my Tuesday Twitter chat about brand, we talked about this topic of digital branding, and some of our participants had some questions for you. So first
Okay.
of all, oh, I didn't want to start with this one actually. Oh no, I did. Okay, so Jasmine would love to know your advice for starting your digital brand. How do you get your audience to notice you? Because right, if your audience is not noticing you, guess what? You're not really getting that brand across. So what are some good ways to start there?
Well, I think if you're trying to start a digital brand, you want to focus on who you're actually targeting, right? So in order to get your audience to notice you, you have to give the audience what they want. And so I like the fact that she said, "How do you get your audience to notice you?" instead of saying, "How do I get more people to notice me?" Right. And so small nuances there in terms of strategy. But ultimately, focusing on those personas, identifying exactly what resonates with them, and then creating content around that. You also want to figure out how your audience is actually moving and maneuvering around in the digital space. Are they using apps? Are they going on websites? How active are they on social media? What channels? So on and so forth. Do they interact with chatbots versus picking up the phone and calling? Right. All of those different things are should be considered when starting your digital brand.
How can you get a sense of how they're maneuvering in the digital space? Like, what if you kind of know who you want to talk to, but you're not sure how to get the best data on where they are and how they're utilizing the platforms?
Yeah, so you can start off with surveying them. If you have no customers at all, you can send out a survey through your social media. If you do have customers, you can obviously send that survey out to them as well, or even create some type of focus group to really understand exactly how what people are doing. You also can focus on third party research if you really want to get into the weeds of that, and there's a lot of institutions and things like that research institutions that provide that type of information. So those are some few different ways to get that information.
Yeah, and I love what you said about also understanding the way they move through the digital space because that can also impact how you structure your customer journey, right? I mean, you get their notice, but then what will and won't they do after that? And I love that you
Exactly.
mentioned chatbots too. That's really key. I used to hate chatbots. I was so resistant. I felt like they were very impersonal, and I've seen some people really able to brand them very nicely. You know,
Yeah,
they've gotten a lot more personality.
100%. And I think that it really boils down to the new normal, right? Meaning people now are doing things because they're forced to with the pandemic. They're forced to deal with more brands online because they can't walk into a brick and mortar location. And so that shift in behavior is something that you should certainly focus on, anyone trying to build their digital brand, because we know now that people are Zooming, they're doing more live streaming like we're doing now. There are more virtual events. They're interacting with brands and one another through the digital space. So the adoption has certainly increased for these digital technologies. So as a brand, you want to make sure that you're set up correctly so that you can communicate with your target audience through those means.
Perfect. Then we have another question. Janet Machuca, who's fantastic, and she founded Africa Tweet Chat, among other things. She's just such a great thought leader in the digital marketing space. And she says that you are the one who made her love digital branding. She's been learning from you for 4 years. So that is certainly fantastic. And she's wondering how you create new and unique digital branding ideas so that you're not just doing the same thing as everyone else, and you can stand out.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a great question. One of the things that I do, and I'd also try to promote this to my team as well, is to just think of something different and have a different perspective on a strategic approach that you're taking with a client campaign or even with their own brands. And what does that mean? Well, it means that you have to be in many different circles in order to get more inspiration from various perspectives. So oftentimes, especially in the digital space, you can get caught in an ecosystem, in an echo chamber,
Yes.
where you're receiving the same type of content because you've liked certain things, right? And so I often say you have to break outside of that, and you even have to like some things that you probably wouldn't like, because it's going to shake up that news feed, so to speak. So that can provide some inspiration, is just simply by focusing on doing things that are outside of the norm, consuming content that's outside of the norm as well, so that you can get inspiration from many different sources that once weren't there.
Yeah, because if all you're looking at is what everybody else is doing in your space, that's all you're gonna be inspired by. My very first guest on this show back in September, Julie Catino, she's former head of brand for Virgin, and her whole company now and her book is called Brand Twist, and it's all about taking those twists and taking those inspirations from unexpected sources. That is where you get the best ideas, really. Megan Powers says hi, by the way. I actually did catch a little bit of your interview with her when I was checking you out. We have another question. We have from Nicole. Nicole wants to know, as a chief strategist, because you are an agency runner, you're not just an educator and speaker, you run an agency and do this for people. So as a chief strategist, how do you define and encourage more strategic thinking? Specifically, she's trying to cultivate that within her creative team, but it's a tricky thing to describe, and I feel like it dovetails nicely from the previous question, but it's not exactly the same. So how do you really kind of get them thinking strategically as a team?
Wow. Well, that's I love that question. So one of the ways that I get my team to think strategically is to, again, focus on shaking up their day to day, because oftentimes as marketing practitioners, we're, having our head down in the weeds of things. And we're really focused, especially if you have several campaigns to manage. So if we break out of that process, we can start to think about connecting different components of the campaign. Even, for example, we have several clients, and what we try to do is connect one clients to another. We had a print company who we connected with our brick and mortar restaurants and so on, and other types of businesses. And we're able to make sure that they're connecting, right? And using our own ecosystem that we created. So if you're in the weeds of your campaigns, you wouldn't naturally think about that. So I often say, you got to level up, right? How can we level up? How can we think and connect the dots? And that's really what it's all about. So that's a very long way of answering the question, but a short answer would be to focus on having them break away from the normal day-to-day workflow and look at all of the campaigns and all of your marketing activations in a 30,000 foot view to see what component can benefit from the next, or what has residual benefit. And so those are some of the ways that we can have our team think a little more strategically.
Nice. Jeremy actually was what Jeremy asked it in a slightly different way. How do you get your digital brand juices flowing? Do you eat something specific? Do you drink something specific? You know, what fuels it? But it sounds like the answer is really just kind of getting out of your comfort zone and getting out of the weeds and that tunnel vision and just opening it up and being in the world.
Absolutely, and a little bit of coffee.
Yeah, coffee definitely helps. I want to remind our live viewers of get your final entries in for our giveaway here for live viewers. The I'm a Personal Brand shirt or mug. I have the shirt because I am a personal brand. So just type hashtag brand in comments. We're going to be drawing that in about 5 minutes. All right. So, and also anyone who has any further questions, please get those in. We'd love to ask them and answer them on air. In the meantime, Trisha, who I believe is also watching live, hey Trisha, she wants to know some of the key shifts you foresee for brands and branding moving forward following this global pandemic, because of course so much has changed about how we have to approach all the things. By the way, Jeremy loves the answer of coffee. He's a big Starbucks fan. So yeah, so what do you see shifting going forward as we hopefully come out of all of this?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously have spent the last year, lockdown. A lot of businesses have gone under. A lot of industries have been shaken up tremendously. But I think we're on the tail end of that, and we see the silver lining here and the light at the end of the tunnel. So I think it's important to focus on the way in which consumers have changed. The Focus on how your traditional consumer is in a different place, meaning how they spend their day is different. They're not, they're working from home. They're moonlighting as teachers. They're, dealing with, mental and well-being issues and challenges. And so as we create content, we obviously have to consider that. And I think all of those things are going to persist in the new normal, meaning that if you had very helpful content or nurturing type content, those types of activations are going to continue in the new normal. We have, in-home activations are going to be still something that I think consumers would be used to. Bringing your product or service and providing an experience in home is something that's going to be new. I think e-commerce obviously has taken off, right? It's been booming. So, a lot of businesses now are focusing on an e-commerce play as well, which I think again would still persist after the pandemic. So all of these things that we're doing now as marketers and as brands to be innovative, to make it, to weather the storm, I think most of those actions are going to persist going forward.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. And I love the elements that you identified. Now I'm going to ask you actually a question of my own, which is if there's any particular technologies, methods of communication, online platforms, anything like that, that you especially see growing or that you especially are curious about or intrigued by in the digital branding space.
Yeah, well, I think just, when looking at emerging platforms, Clubhouse is an emerging platform and really looking to see where that's going. You can tell if a new social network is starting to ruffle some feathers when other pre-existing social networks, the old dinosaurs, are starting to shake up some of their features
I was
on.
gonna say, are you team Clubhouse or team Twitter Spaces?
So that's the thing, believe it or not, I have more Twitter followers, so I'm going to probably go all in on Twitter Spaces. And I just think that Twitter is a unique social network. I don't think it's going anywhere. And so I'm probably going to double down on Twitter Spaces only because my reach would be a lot greater in that space.
Yeah, that's my feeling too. But at the same time, I know some people who are really killing it on Clubhouse because they're developing a community there. So it's just kind of where you want to build it. I feel like there's space for both because Twitter is for people like you and me who kind of have their community on Twitter already and would rather serve them there than bring them someplace else. I feel like Clubhouse is great for people who are really about that particular medium because all you're experiencing on Clubhouse is a community of literal voices. So
Yep.
I mean, we'll see how it all pans out. Jen Cole is having some fun with Twitter Spaces, and speaking of Jen Cole, she has drawn our winner today. So our winner today of my fabulous "I'm a Personal Brand" shirt and mug, thankfully, is someone who has a personal brand. It is Ms. Megan Powers. So congrats, Megan. Thank you so much for joining us today. You rock. I was talking to Megan on Twitter Spaces just yesterday because she was the guest on Madeline Sklar's Twitter Smarter Chat yesterday, and I co-host a space with Madeline at 5 p.m. on Thursdays. So we got to chat with Megan once it stopped booting us all off. We'll see how it all goes down. All right. So, Juntae, would you like to thank you so much for being here today? Would you like to tell the good people at home where they should find you?
Yeah. So listen, if you're looking for more information about digital branding, check out digitalbrandinginstitute.com. If you're looking for a consultant or agency partner, check out myself and my team at digitaldelane.com. I also have a newsletter called The Brand Behavior. And so we're building a community around that. Feel free to go to that website and click on the brand behavior to join. And if you have any other questions, feel free to engage with me on social media. Juntae DeLane is the handle across all social networks.
Thank you so much for being on with us today. I was saying before we went live that I'm surprised that we haven't met in real life before because we both kind of do the conference circuits, but hopefully 2022, we will cross paths safely.
Yes.
World will open back up. We'll see how it all goes. But thank you so much for being here with us today virtually. And a reminder that I am here virtually every single Friday at this same bat time, same bat channel, which is 12 noon Eastern on Fridays on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. But next week, we are having a very special combination of my Tuesday Twitter chat, which happens Tuesdays at noon on Twitter, and my Friday live show. I'm merging them together next week for a special episode with the fabulous Ms. Amanda Goetz. Which way am I going here? But there she is. Anyway. She has founded several companies, but the latest being House of Wise, which is a female-oriented CBD company. And she's going to be talking about entrusting your brand to others because she has entrusted House of Wise to her squad of wise women. You can only get it through one of her wise women. So we're going to talk about what is involved in entrusting your brand to others, how you need to define it to make sure that you're able to convey that to the people who are going to be conveying it to the masses in turn, and why you would even want to do that and the considerations therein. So we're doing it an interesting way. So Tuesday at noon, she and I will be chatting live, having a live video interview like this on Twitter on Tuesday, while the usual Twitter chat is also happening. So I'm going to have a timer on screen so that I make sure that I'm asking her each of the Twitter chat questions that we normally do at the exact time that our Twitter chat participants are getting them. So if you don't care about the interview, you just care about the chat, that is fine. You can participate the same way you would any old Tuesday. If you do care about the interview, it will be in my pinned tweet and you can watch and listen along. But then Friday viewers, don't worry, keep this spot on your calendar marked because Friday at noon, I'm going to be not only replaying the video interview so that you can watch it at the usual time, though it will be an hour instead of half an hour, but I will be live in the comments, answering your questions, having discussions with you right here in the comments, and I'm still going to do a live giveaway. I obviously won't be able to announce the winner on video, but I will announce it right there in the comment thread. So I really am trying to bring together the best of both worlds of the Twitter chat and the live stream. It's not a new every week format. I'm doing it maybe once a month, but I am excited to have you all join me on Tuesday or on Friday. Friday's good too, with Amanda Goetz. In the meantime, thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you next week. Mwah! Bye-bye.